Good evening, everybody, and happy Sunday evening as we are back to review yesterday's performance in the Southampton 1, Newcastle United 3. My name is Paul, joined by, of course, Standout tonight as we look back on the game. Please give it a like if you enjoy the show, and, of course, if you're new, please do subscribe. It is free to do so. We are over halfway there on our search for 36,000, so we're getting there, guys. And, of course, you can support the channel in the usual two ways. Super Chat, which is the $ at the bottom of the live comments. That guarantees your comment to be read out on the show. And, of course, membership, that's the join button just underneath me and Alex. And, of course, thank you to Mamaru Records for the sponsorship on the channel. All your music needs, they are based in Whitley Bay Town Centre. If you can't get into Whitley Bay, check them out online. It's pinned at the top of the description for all your vinyl, CDs, music merch, sport merch, and gift cards, etc. So once again, thank you to them. Good evening, Alex.
Good evening. Good evening, Magpie Massive and everybody in Viewerland.
Now, very, very good win yesterday, Alex. It was we started the game very well, but of course the big decision was the centre-backs, and he went with Shea and Byrne. Botman didn't make an appearance as a substitute either. So, good rest for Sven Botman. But would you maybe, maybe do something else against Fulham at home?
Would I maybe do something else?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not privy to the training and how the players are leading up to that game. So probably no. However, I think Fabian Schär showed a couple of moments of how he's still not 100% with his head and with his timing and awareness, decision making. It's still, for me, a little bit of a problem. And we're in a kind of we're starting to get into the business end of the season now, where we need to beat Arsenal or at least hold our nerve to get through to the final of the Carabao Cup. And we've got some really important fixtures in Feb, such as Man City, Forest, Liverpool. We need to try and maintain some points accumulation so we can try and finish or have a strong finish. So we can't be having our centre-halves making mistakes consistently. It didn't lead to any drop points, but it has done quite a few times this season. So it does make me a bit nervy.
The thing that got me was obviously the sort of duck out the way of the ball in the second half towards the end of the game with 6 minutes left. That was absolutely criminal. Martin says, it's all donated through YouTube, mate. It's all through Super Chats. Every Super Chat we make on deadline day goes to the charity. I do have an agreement in place with YouTube. They know it's a charity stream as well. So all Super Chats are going to the charity. Joel says, saw on another channel who will remain nameless, saying the result was unconvincing and gave all our players 6s and 7s. Absolutely wild. Well, Joel, I have no idea who that channel is, but 6s and 7s, I mean, yeah, there was. I would say there's a few 6s and 7s. Of course, we'll do that in our player ratings in the second half of the show. But to be fair, there was some absolutely outstanding performances as well. Let's not. Certainly, one stands out by a country mile. But anyway, Alex, let's. We need to put a poll up for the viewers' man of the match, of course, in which we get each to pick 2 players. So, who was your man of the match for yesterday? Or your man of the match to your first potential?
I mean, a nomination. We'll go with Sandro.
Yes. Sandro Tanali. Okay, I am going to go with Martin Dubravka.
Cool. Well, Isak's got to be on the list, so that's 3 nominated.
He certainly does.
And the 4th is a tricky one because
I mean, we did say there was some very convincing performances. I'm
very 50-50 on who the 4th pick is. It could be a number of people. They're all a bit meh. It was just solid. I think Joe Linton, Bruno and Murphy were solid. Maybe Murphy because he got the assist.
Yeah. Murphy's getting a big shout in the chat, so we'll put
generous,
Murphy. Yeah. So there you go, guys. That is your 4 for the man of the match. Is it Tanali, Dubravka, Isak, or Murphy? That poll is now pinned in the chat. Get voting, and we will hit that up at the end of the show to let you know who has won the Viewers' Man of the Match this week. By the way, I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat asking about Billy's health. Listen, what he's actually in hospital for, we're keeping very private. So please don't speculate anything in the chat. I've seen a couple of people asking, has he had this, has he had that? Billy is in good spirits. He watched the game yesterday from hospital. He's in there for obviously a particular reason, which he's getting treatment for. And hopefully he will make a full recovery. He hasn't been well for a while, as people know, but they decided to take him into hospital and to help him with the treatment in hospital rather than from home. And we just hope that he gets home very, very soon and gets back to his full fitness, full health, and back on the channel. But he does appreciate everybody's best wishes. He's seen them all on the shows. So
it does help. If you're 50-50 as to whether you want to write something, I would say write something, because he will see it and it will help him. So
see it, absolutely. Yvonne says, loved your commentary yesterday, Paul. I bet you miss Billy by your side. Let's hope he's back on the mend and back with you all soon. Yeah, it's strange. It is strange. Absolutely not being able to turn around and say, what do you think of that, Billy? Or, getting Billy's little sort of inputs all the time. But we'll get back to that soon enough. Don't you worry about that. Clarkey says Botman and Byrne need to start against Jimenez. Calix says, in fairness, Shea could have had a call from behind him to leave it because of the offside trap. I'm not so sure about that. I think the other two were well away from him to make that kind of a decision, to be honest. It was a very, very close offside, to be honest, Alex, wasn't it? It was tight.
Well, he stepped up anyway, so just get rid of it.
Yeah,
it's at some point you've got to be a little bit more old school and traditional with your centre half play. If you've made the step up, because you're then leaving a big gap that you've vacated. So if you do leave it and someone's onside, that's terrible. It was too risky for me.
Yeah. I mean, look, we started the game, I thought, Alex, really well. With the first 9 minutes, we really went at Southampton and looked as if we could score every time we went forward. It was blatantly obvious that, the gaps at the back were incredible that Southampton were leaving from the word go. And I really did think, wow, this could be, the 6-7-0 that we were talking about before. A lot of people were suggesting that. Southampton were just all over the place. And then suddenly the first attack they get, Byrne is, I still don't think, I've watched the goal a couple of times. I think he falls on his ass. He tries to clear the ball. He doesn't make any connection with it. It's a lackluster clearance. But for me, it's not about that. It's for who the hell was picking, who scored the first goal? Bednarek?
Jan Bednarek, yeah.
Bednarek, yeah. He's on the 6-yard line, completely unmarked. I mean, he literally just waltzes into the box. Nobody picks him up. And listen, it's take your pick the way he headed the ball. It was a very simple finish. Yes, the control on the header was very good. It was in the back of the net. No chance for Martin Dubravka, of course. But woeful defending. And these are the kind of things that we need to improve on, Alex, because, get punished like that against better sides. Getting back into the game is not going to be as I was going to say easy, but not going to be as it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was a tricky thing to defend because we weren't set at that point. So just for context, it was Bree with the cross, who is a centre half, crossing it to another centre half in the 6-yard box. And this was not from a set piece either. So the fact you've got a centre half crossing to a centre half, it's hard to have the adequate personnel available for the pressing and the closing down and the tackling and the marking, because that is quite a weird thing. But that being said, Byrne tried his best. I don't blame Byrne. I think there were 2 further chances to stop that. You're not going to, if just losing a duel is perfectly fine. It happens all the time. Obviously, we want to try and win more than we lose. He didn't win that one, but that's not to excuse letting the cross come in so freely and then nobody being on the big centre half right in the middle of the 6-yard box. So, yeah, but we should have mitigated that earlier on, and we did. That didn't happen again because there was a lot more wide cover. Gordon came back a lot more to assist with that, and we kind of had it covered from then on. But it was, it was a drop ball.
A couple of goals against Bournemouth similar to that, Alex, which is a little bit worrying that people aren't tracking the men, right into the penalty area. Mark Randall says, saw a report that Old Trafford regeneration project gets government support. Does this mean UK taxpayers are footing the bill? Yes.
I hope not. There should be a protest if there is.
If it's government money, it's coming from taxpayers. You can guarantee it. So I think there should be
I'm not paying for
massive protest about that. There should be a massive protest about that. It's a disgrace, quite honestly. And I'm sure there's more to come on that. But obviously, we will cover it a lot more when we get the opportunity.
If you want to do it in a way that's going to help the club, make the club pay for it, but then do it as PSR relief. Make it so it doesn't count, or you've got to get an allowance, and then it will encourage them to spend and regenerate and rejuvenate infrastructure of football clubs, but they've got a legitimate reason to do it, and then it's not taxpayers paying for it. So it's again sensible things. There's people way cleverer than us that should be suggesting and trying to enforce these kinds of things. It's not that hard.
Anyway, that's for another day. We got back in the game through a penalty, Alex. I mean, listen, when I was doing the commentary yesterday, so many people were putting in the chat that the TV commentators were saying, "Oh, it's just a clash of legs. It's nowhere near a penalty." I couldn't actually believe that from what I was watching on the VAR replays, and I still don't understand how on earth it took VAR so long to send the referee to the screen. Because when you look at, I think there was a side angle and there was a behind the goal angle, and when you see those angles, there is no doubt about it that is a penalty. And it amazes me that it has to be so contentious every time when it comes to VAR. That was as a blatant a penalty as you're ever going to see.
Yeah, I don't really want to see that guy commentating on Southampton games. There was a couple of commentators that were just awful. It was so utterly biased that it was just infuriating for even neutrals. I've seen a lot of outrage online for just how ridiculous it was. I think there's three different situations where it's clearly a pen in that, and their reasoning was that he's not put his foot on Isak. Well, yeah, but he's put his foot in front of Isak to trip him, made no contact with the ball, and then had his right leg wrap around the back as well. That's three different things that, for me, go towards it being a foul on several fronts and getting no contact with the ball in a really dangerous area for the striker who's going to get a shot off if he doesn't do that. Mm-hmm. You've not touched the ball. It's an absolute stonewall penalty, and it is a clear error by the referee. And to be fair to the referee, that's quite hard to see from that angle, and that's why VAR exists, so he can then go and have a look and make the decision. Mm-hmm. I'm gobsmacked that that's even remotely controversial as a penalty decision. I think it was probably the clearest we've had all season.
The thing is, the referee didn't take very long. Once he went to the screen, he saw a couple of replays, and then, I missed that. That
two angles, cool. Yeah, exactly.
But VAR, I mean, the same for the offside. I never know why they don't just put the line across straight away. But what made me more angry yesterday, Alex, was it took so long with that offside decision for Southampton's goal, second goal, sorry. They took so long. And then once they put the lines across, it clearly stated offside. But then they went back to it to see if Fabian Schär had brushed the ball, or there was a touch
if it had brushed his, if he'd had too much gel on his hair that morning, and if it it was. And to be fair, the lines, it took them ages to get them drawn, and then when they did draw them, they only flashed it on screen for a second. So I've not even had a chance to go and double check that and see how close it was. But I can't wait for the semi-automated offsides, what we had in the Euros in the summer, because that was brilliant.
I think it's coming in next season. It's in next season, isn't it? It's just pathetic the way they go about it. Just put the lines across, make your decision, and get on with the game. Martin says, we start well all the time, but we fall asleep too often at the back and let teams in at one good chance every game, which does worry me. Absolutely. But Clarkey says Cher's been great. Cher has been and still is brilliant, but he's not going to get any better. We might start seeing more of these errors going forward. Perfect time to upgrade in the summer. Now, I don't have, unfortunately, Eddie's interview tonight, Alex, but what I did catch from the main one he gave was that a couple of players, he said, were under the weather yesterday as well. Were feeling a bit under the weather. So he didn't say whether they were on the bench or whether they were in the starting 11. He just said a couple or a few players were under the weather. So I don't know whether there's a bug going around the team as well.
I mean, they looked fine. Nobody played lethargic. For me, I think everybody was up for it. I think Bruno was maybe marginally less impactful compared to what he normally is, but he was still absolutely fine. Yeah. Running levels from the fullbacks were okay. Murphy and Gordon were doing a lot of running, a lot of pressing. Both got assists. The midfield, the other midfielders, Tanali and Joe Linton. Joe Linton was more improved, less fatigued for me. Had a much more energetic game. Sandro as well was just forever energetic at this point. No, I couldn't tell, judging by people. I mean, who came off the bench? Willock, Miley, Miggy, Sean. I didn't see any lethargy from anybody, so I don't know who he was talking about, but it wasn't obvious to a fan base for me.
By the way, the Man United situation is apparently, Alice, the government funding is for around the wider regeneration, like the roads and the buildings that are going to be around the new stadium.
Can we have that then? We've got sort of roads and the metro, and there's.
Oh, they don't care. No, they don't care about the northeast. They really don't care. But listen, I'm seeing a few comments about the commentary yesterday, guys. Simple thing is, knock the sound off, listen to me, and commentating on the game. You get a better commentary, and if something needs to be said during the commentary, it'll be said. But the way they are these days, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, he stuck the penalty away nicely, Alex. Isak did. Lovely little hop, skip, and a jump before just guiding it into the bottom corner. But then we really started to get going, didn't we? And we were knocking the ball around absolutely brilliantly. Some of the passing and movement was great. But then comes the second goal, which for me was fantastic. Murphy gets the ball on the right-hand side, dip of the shoulder, goes past his man, cutting inside. Then he hits a very strong pass because it had to be a pacey pass to get through the gap that was there. So he made that pass. Isak cushions it on his left foot brilliantly, which enables him just to first time stroke the ball into the bottom corner. It was just a magical goal.
Yeah, well, Jacob Murphy, I know there are people saying that he wasn't fantastic in all aspects of yesterday, and I would agree to a point. But guys, he's on 7 assists and 3 goals so far this season. He's on 10 goal contributions.
Yep.
From 20 appearances. That is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic on that right wing. So even if it falls off a cliff now in terms of goal contributions for the rest of the season, for somebody who is we all kind of agree isn't the long-term answer on that side, he's brilliant. And he definitely deserves a lot of credit for that. And then Isak as well. It was a chance that he's missed a few of those in those kinds of positions in recent months. It was a good finish. And I would just like to mention, Paul, I know you've possibly seen it, possibly not seen it. A few people have already mentioned it in the chat, is Mark McAdam's commentary on Sky Sports of the goal.
When he mentioned Arsenal in his first sentence.
Yeah, so referencing Arsenal fans wanting to sign him.
Yeah.
Keith Downey essentially did try to come to his rescue to a point. Fair play to Keith. We do like Keith on this channel a lot. But Keith, mate, you can't be making comments like that and expect people not to get riled up. We don't, when we score, you don't get Shay Given saying, "Oh, and Saka scored." The Geordie enthusiast as a youngster. Oh, Newcastle need a right winger at the moment, and with the Saudi money, could it possibly happen? Yeah. That's not a line that's come out of any commentator or journalist's mouth. It's not happened. Despite the fact we have been dropping. Yeah, and look,
ridiculous.
I get it because it's clickbaity. It's in line with recent media, albeit media that they've pushed, in my opinion, significantly. I get it, but take your backlash like a big boy because Luke Edwards called him out on it. And Luke Edwards, Mark McAdam, is a Leyton Orient fan. So he couldn't give a toss about us in terms of actual fully supporting the club. He obviously likes us to a point because he does all he does on us as a professional. But Luke Edwards called him out, and he replied with, "Oh, you wouldn't do that to my face," and it all got a bit schoolyardy.
Yeah, it did.
No,
It
you've said something that was controversial to a certain fan base, and you've been stung for it. Nobody was abusive that I saw, as far as I'm aware. Take it like a man, like a person, like a journalist, like a commentator, whatever you are. Don't spit your dummy out because somebody's called you out on the hypocrisy. A lot of the Isak stuff has been pushed from certain parts of the media. You're going to have to take it, I'm afraid. And I like what Luke Edwards did in defending it because it's getting a bit laughable.
Listen.
As far as we're concerned.
Yeah, I mean, I've criticised Luke Edwards in the past. Everybody knows that. However, I think he was right to do what he did. And the fact is, it's just amazing, really, because you see so many times when they go to goals, you guarantee you never ever hear another reporter mention another team in his first sentence when he's been reporting on the goal.
And if anybody in the fan base thinks that we're the only channel digging him out for this, Pete from Loaded was just as livid. He posted as much on Twitter. Everybody's livid about this. Adam P's livid about it. We're all livid about it. So if people are going to start blacklisting journalists from channels, we're all as equally livid about it. It needs to calm down a bit from Sky. It's getting a bit harassment-y silly now. Let's just put the story down. Arteta has openly talked about alternative targets this window. It's just gone a bit too far, and fans are getting so frustrated with it because we're trying to enjoy our team winning, and we can't because you're pushing other narratives into our happy moments, and it's not on. It's really not on.
It got a bit pathetic. And if you,
by the way, I've not had a drink, guys. So anybody thinking I'm having a weekend this year? I haven't had a drink today.
Listen,
I'm just really angry at Sky.
The fact that so many people commented, so many people commented on it, regarding what he said, and Keith. I think Keith, as I say, we love. I respect Keith massively. He's a lovely man.
Keith doesn't come out with funny narratives. He just
and
he's really
I think
open
what he was doing
there.
He was trying to back his colleague. But it just got
fair.
It just got very silly.
I think he should have probably stayed out of that. But I mean, he could do what he wanted. Yeah. He's a big boy. So
yeah. But we need to talk about the third goal, Alex, because what I didn't see initially was the fantastic effort that Sandro Tanali made in his own half to win the header, which created the whole move. Now Fabian Schär plays a long ball, looking for Isak. It's headed away. I think it was Bednarek who got the header. The ball then loops back into Newcastle's half, takes a bounce, and I think whoever the Southampton player is assuming that he's going to receive the ball. However, Tanali just wanted that more than him and came from nowhere to charge through, win a header. The header then goes to Isak, who just does a lovely little shoulder pass, dropping down to Anthony Gordon. But Tanali never stops running. He knows, and that's the sign of an absolute quality player. He knows that there is a move developing there, Alex, sees the gap, and Gordon plays him in perfectly, and the finish is exquisite. It's 3-1. It was just a fantastic piece of football.
Yeah, I mean, this is, and I hate to draw Sean into this because it's so unfair on Sean because he's a decent player, but it's the kind of reason we wanted a player of Tanali's level in the side, to be able to spot and anticipate those kinds of things from players like Isak and Bruno and Gordon, because you're gonna get intricate link-up play when they get the opportunity to see it and they see it unfolding. And yeah, Sandro started that off himself, like you said. Strangely enough, I don't think Isak was credited with an aerial duel for that, which, I mean, it was contested. He took it out of the air. For me, that's an aerial duel. Yeah, he's gone down as 0 aerials 1. I think that's a bit harsh. I think he got a man on him and he got there. And then Gordon understood what was happening around him. He could see the picture, plays it into the path of Sandro, and Sandro is just gone. I think we mentioned it yesterday, Paul. Nobody, especially opposition-wise, I don't think until they play him, realizes how strong and pacey Sandro Tonali is.
I tell you what,
they think
quick.
he's a little bit more.
He's really quick.
He is rapid. He's absolutely rapid. A lot of people think he's a Pirlo-y, maybe similar to Bruno, pulling some strings but chilling. He's not that guy. He's got the physicality as well and the pace. This is why when we signed him, there were obviously all the Pirlo conversations about he looks a bit like Pirlo. He had a similar career progression, has got a long pass. But then a lot of people were kind of especially Italians were pointing to the fact that there was a lot more Gattuso traits in him. That's the physicality and the power. And he's a really interesting hybrid of those two players. Obviously, he's not reached anywhere near the heights of those two career-wise, but you can definitely see the abilities there. And the finish as well. Because he was so fast, he got to take his time. And I love that he put it near post as well, gave the goalkeeper the eyes. And he even said in his interview, he's had a couple of moments like that he's not scored from. And it's good that his English is getting to a point. It's not great, but considering it's gone from no English to an interview, is fantastic in such a short period of time.
Really well. I thought incredible.
I think he wanted to express himself a bit more, and he didn't know how, but he got enough out for us, which was great. So credit to him.
But he was pagged. That's why he was pagged.
Well,
he was absolutely knackered.
It's lovely to see. He's settling. His English is getting better. He's scoring. He's happier. He's playing. It's lovely. And
you see what
it was an elite level goal.
What the goal meant to him by going to celebrate with the fans, and this is just. I think sometimes you get messages from players, don't you, in the way they react to things, and obviously Tanali, many times before the window opened, was linked with swap deals going back to Italy and this, that, and the other. And then Tonali's agent had to come out and say, no, he's perfectly happy at Newcastle United. He's going nowhere. And that was a kind of, you know what I mean, by a message, Alex. It was sort of the way he went to the fans and he just loved it.
I think he's appreciative of how we treat him, whether it's online, whether it's home crowd, away crowd, and just generally in the city as well, seems to be represented really well. You know, there are not a lot of clubs around the world where if you get in trouble and get banned for a long time, you know, there's a lot of clubs where he would have gotten a lot of issues, a lot of hate, a lot of abuse, a lot of problems. And all he's had from us as a fan base genuinely is just support and wanting him to get back to his best and to give him the opportunity to pay us back in the black and white shirt. And I think he's quite humbled and happy that you know, just go and play your heart out. You don't have to be world class. Just go and try your absolute best. Die for the shirt. And they sing his name all game, every game, and it's great. It must be a great feeling for the young man.
He loves it, and
mental health wise as well, where he's been through, to get that support from the crowd will definitely help.
100%. And listen, you cannot not love the man. He is just the way he is performing at the minute is just incredible. He seems to the ground he covered yesterday was fantastic. He was down the left again. He was pushing forward. He was defending. Just bloody everywhere. And the engine that this guy has and the fitness that he shows is incredible. Absolutely.
He did it again yesterday, didn't he? Where he won the ball high up and then took it down the right wing on his own. He seems to do that every game. I think that was in the 90th or 91st minute. Yeah, and he's starting to do that every match now, where he'll take somebody unaware when they're a bit tired, pinch the ball, and just go down the wing. He does it every game, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Right, let's do the player ratings, Alex. We'll start off with the goalkeeper, Martin Dubravka.
Martin Dubravka. I mean, he has a good life for this one.
Well, I mean, that save he made, Alex, literally 1 minute before we went up the other end and scored.
Yeah. I mean, I basically had to admit in the Patreon yesterday. Yeah, fine. You can teach an old dog new tricks. I was not anticipating at his age to be able to suddenly start adding. Do
you know what, Alex? I listened to that podcast and I thought, oh God, your face must be squirming into a sort of dried out sponge right now, having to say these things.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. It's again in the same way that I'm frustrated that Nick Pope doesn't seem to be able to improve his distribution and technical ability. Dubravka has improved his speed off the line, general awareness and anticipation of needing to come out a bit more. It's still not as good as Pope's is in terms of coming out, but it's good enough. It's good enough, and his technical ability is much better than Nick Pope's.
Indeed.
And some of those reflex saves, I'm going to give him a 9 for that. I don't think he's going to get to the goal, but the genuine close range stops and some of the improvements to his game, I'm going to go with a 9 because this is a 35-year-old goalkeeper. Is he older than that? Oh, he's okay. He's old for a goalkeeper, 36.
But listen, that reflex save, if Southampton had got the equaliser there through that overhead kick, I mean, it was a brilliant attempt by the kid with the overhead kick. But the sheer reflex, if that had gone to 2-2, Southampton tails are up again and we're back to square one. However, the fact that he made the save, and then a minute later, that's how important these kind of saves are, because a minute later we go up the other end and we 100%. Score. It
was his birthday 11 days ago, apparently. Did we remember that? Did that pop up on?
I believe it popped up online, but he's 36 or 37. I can't remember.
He was 36 11 days ago.
Right, there you go. Right, Tino Livramento. Now, I saw a lot of comments by the way, I've given Dubravka a 9, I should say as well. Same as you, Stats. Basically, I saw a lot of people in the chat having a go at Livramento at half-time, and that kind of confused me a little bit. Now, the one thing that I think we all are aware of is that Tino Livramento still needs to improve in the final third in his decision-making about what he's going to do. I think defensively, I thought he was okay yesterday. I didn't really see him. He didn't struggle defensively for me yesterday. He wasn't magnificent, but to be fair, we had a lot of the ball. And second half, it was one of those games where we just managed the game again. But he has to improve. There was times Murphy was making a brilliant run down the right. Tino would get the ball and then he would stop. And I think that frustrated Murphy a couple of times. But that is something I think that will sort of blend into his game eventually. But like I said, he wasn't outstanding, but I think he did a good enough job. I'm going with a 7. Alex?
I'm going to go with a little bit higher.
Okay.
I'm going to go with the 7.5. 5 out of 6 ground duels. Careful with the passing. But yeah, I would like him to maybe be a little bit more ambitious and optimistic when going forward. That being said, on his side, barely any Southampton attacks down that side were of any sort of decent quality. Everything was on the opposite side with Onuachu and Kyle Walker-Peters trying to go round Ogachukwu as well and Fernandez. There wasn't really anything that came down the left that I was overly concerned about. And that was largely down to Livramento being pretty solid. So yeah, I'm going to go 7.5. And I think he'll learn. He got a couple of key passes, really, really solid. I agree with you. I don't quite know why people were really uptight at half-time about his performance. I don't think he's had considerably worse first-half performances than that. I thought that was okay.
Yeah, I think it's down to him going forward. I mean, he made a brilliant run yesterday in the first half, Alex, very early doors, that he should have pulled it back to Isak. It was a very straightforward
I agree. That was an annoying one.
He gave it away. That's the kind of thing I think people get frustrated with rather than his defending. But that will improve. Eddie will look at the game back and he will work with him. Yeah, of course he will.
He's a lot. I think people as well. I mean, I don't kind of know what our age spread is in for the Magpie Massive today and generally, but I feel like we've all suddenly adjusted our expectations of what a fullback is supposed to deliver. He's a defender. I feel like
we've had the pleasure of watching Trippier for a couple of years, haven't we? And he's,
yeah. I mean, I feel like we do need a little bit of perspective. Do I want him to be able to play a couple more forward passes and cut back a bit better, and those dinks to the back post to be a bit crisper? Of course, we would all love that. He's 21. I do think it will come. But yeah, I feel like we do need to slightly dial back the expectations on fullbacks. I get they're modern fullbacks, Hugh. I get that. But again, it's a 21-year-old fullback, and it's a work in progress. It really is. So I think we need to take it with a little bit of a pinch of salt.
Other side, Lewis Hall.
Yeah, okay. Well, in the same vein, he can do all of those modern fullback things, but this kid is a well, I don't know. He's a freak. Again, I'm going to use the word freak, but in a positive sense. I thought it wasn't the greatest game for him.
No, I think he struggled against Walker
Largely,
Peters.
yeah. Well, I mean, Walker Peters is a really, really good wing back.
He is
Really good.
Yeah.
Carl Walker Peters is hugely underrated.
Yeah.
And when Southampton go down, I wouldn't mind a cheeky little Carl Walker Peters bid. I think he's a fantastic
a few people
player.
have actually said that online. Yeah,
I'd take him in a heartbeat. I think he's brilliant. I think you can play him as a defensive winger, as a wing back, as a right back. He plays left back as well. He's got loads of experience. He's pacey. He can do tricks. He's got a bit of everything. But Lewis Hall, I think some of it was him. Some of it was Gordon not helping as much in the early stages. I don't think he was necessarily supposed to in certain moments. He needed a bit more wide cover.
Yeah.
I think he just gets left on his own sometimes. And then he's told to join attacks. And then if we lose the ball, there's a big hole there. Is it Lewis Hall's fault necessarily if someone else has lost the ball as he's got on his bicycle? Not really. I think there's a lot of things that happen down that left back side that he doesn't have as much control over as people think. But yeah, I'll go with it. I'm going to go with a 6.5. It wasn't fantastic. Good passing, 93% passing accuracy, but we got no crosses or long balls on target, completed no dribbles. And I think Southampton had their biggest luck down that side. So I'm going to have to reflect that on his mark and go with the 6.5.
I've gone the same as Tino. I've gone a 7. But many of the same reasons that you've just given there, Alex. I think 6.5 is fair. I mean, 0.5 isn't much difference, is it? So I think, but the Walker Peters thing, I mean, I was very impressed with what I saw from him yesterday, and he's certainly a lot better than a lot of his teammates, put it that way. But that's for them to worry about at the minute. Fabian Schär. Now, Fabian Schär for me he's full of risk at the moment, and that's the real annoying thing for me. He's risky with everything, and when he gets the ball, can you just sort of these little passes out here and there, and but I don't know. I mean, I can't forgive him for ducking out the way of that ball, and I don't care whether he got a shout. He is more experienced than that to know that he just puts his head on it and clears the ball, whether it's offside or not. If Southampton are offside, the linesman will flag anyway. But, you know, how many times you see goal kicks, etc., and then the linesman puts his flag up. Nah, I can't accept that. It's just no. And he's just not in a great deal of form at the minute. Listen, Fabian Schär's been amazing for Newcastle United. Absolutely amazing. But at the minute, I'd rather have Botman and Byrne as the two at the back. So I'm giving him a 6. Alex?
5 interceptions, 2 tackles. That was the 2 duels you won out of 8. 1 accurate long ball all game, which I think was that the one that Isak sent back to Sandro to start the 3rd goal. It might have been that one.
No. Because Bednarek...
Because it got launched forward by someone.
Yeah, Schär launched it forward, but Bednarek won the header. Bednarek headed it back into our half.
It was a good long ball. I think that was the only one, but yeah, he got none others. And then there was he was offside for a potential goal shout for himself. And then there was the fact that he left that ball. I don't... If anybody says, well, he might have got a shout, don't care. Head that away. It's too dangerous. It's too dangerous. It really is, because it could be someone else pretending the shout. Like you can't do that in today's game. You've got to just head it away. I'm going to go with a 5.
5. Okay.
I'm not comfortable with Fabian Schär being a regular starter anymore, and that pains me because I love the man. I think he's a fantastic player, but I think he's and is it potentially form? It might be, but
or is it age?
This has been happening. Well, this has happened since day 1 of the season against Southampton the first time round. It's not really, we're now nearly in February, and it's been wishy-washy since August for Fabian Schär for me. So is it form or is this just a decline? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's took a lot of head injuries as well. I mean, you need to consider that. Is he, you know? Anyway, Dan Burn, Alex.
He's been rated considerably lower on SofaScore, which I think is a little bit harsh. I thought he was okay. Really struggled against Onuachu to win the ball in the air. I think that's the first time I've ever seen him.
Lump of lard. Him, like, I mean,
he's 201 centimeters.
He's terrible.
Yeah, I think he's the same height or marginally taller than Dan Burn. So I think that's probably the top, one of the toughest challenges that Dan Burn's ever had aerially. That's hard to say. Yeah. But apart from that, I mean, even though he lost a lot of them, he was still doing enough for it not to be a goal threat. He was contesting it in slightly safer areas. We were managing to deal with it. So he's got to get credit for that.
Not forget, he made a wonderful tackle on an action. He was about to put the ball in the net. Never gave up.
Yeah, I mean, some people saying at fault for the goal. No, I disagree with that. I think absolutely not. I mean, if you're going to go that far back, I mean, who lost the ball originally for Southampton to start that attack?
Yeah,
we're going to go all the way back to them at some point. That, you know, I'm not blaming Dan Burn for that goal. That's nonsense. There were two further opportunities for that to get tidied up. I'm going to go with a 7. I thought it was just
7.
Yeah, 92% passing accuracy is solid. Wasn't involved in anything technical or build up really, but I thought he was fine.
Yeah, I've gone for a 7 as well. I thought he was better than Cher. And as I say, he doesn't give up. He doesn't give anything up, and that was epitomized in that challenge he made. Because again, Southampton could have scored there. It was a fantastic.
His levels have definitely dropped a little bit, though.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Because we had a period of games where his technical level just went through the roof, and that's disappeared in the last 2 games. Because I think he was having a blinder, and now he's kind of not reverting to type. That's really unfair because he's been fairly solid. But yeah, there's definitely if Burn keeps playing to this level, which isn't bad, and Fabian Schär keeps doing these kinds of things, then Botman's got to sort of displace one of them soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Surely.
Yeah. Sandro Tanali. Well, what can you say about this guy? Simply sensational. We say it every week now. It's literally every week how good this kid is. All over the pitch. Just a wonderful performance, a fantastic goal. He shows real leadership on the pitch as well. He controls very difficult situations. He gets stuck in. He's physical. He's quick. This man is an enigma. He's an elite player, and it's a 10 from Len. Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go for a 10 as well. Purely not because of the goal, not because he scored a goal, but because of the quality of the goal and everything he did to engineer that himself.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so much more than just, oh, that was a good hit. It was, you know, he started it from inside his own half and had the faith and belief in his more technical minded teammates to get that ball back to him, and it was fantastic. And I just love the desire. It's a really nice blend of traditional traits with modern traits. He's just a good footballer, very humble, very hardworking, very technically gifted. And I just love the fact that he wins the ball back in the final 10 minutes of every game and just starts to annoy the opposition. They just can't get the ball off him. It takes 3 players to get the ball off him most of the time because they just can't. Yeah, he's brilliant. 10 out of 10 for me.
Bruno.
Ooh, quite a game for Bruno. Not that he was doing anything wrong. He did play the cheeky little ball to Isak that then got the penalty. So he's not going to get any plaudits for that, but it was a good ball. And if obviously Isak wasn't fouled, it might have been a goal. So we have to credit that pass. It was a good pass. But I think he was a little bit quieter. I think Joelinton was back to a bit more destroying. Tanali was very impactful. And there was less for Bruno to show off with. But still thought he was okay. A little bit low in the duel rates, only 2 out of 10, which we would crucify others for. So I'll go with a 7, and that's a generous 7. He was okay.
Yep. We've got a new member just popped up there. Let me just wake my mouse up. There you go. Tom Murison, welcome to Members Club, Tom. Thank you for your ongoing support. Much appreciated. 7 for Alex. For Bruno, I've gone slightly high. I've gone 7.5. Bruno's going to have these games where he's not going to be a 10 all the time. Neither is Tanali, let's be honest. But Bruno is Bruno, and he's capable of that magic pass, which he did, of course, against Wolves, and he's done it again yesterday. But it turned into a penalty. But nobody's talking about the pass because the penalty took so long to get fucking decided. So he kind of missed out on that. But yeah, we'll move on to Joe Linton now. Now Joe Linton is, I mean, he was okay yesterday. I thought, Alex, he's definitely better than he has been the last couple of games. I think he needs to find his shooting boots again. A couple of shots wildly over the bar, but he did hit one which hit the post, of course. But he was offside. He was miles offside, but came back and then spun and hit it. But I think he's getting there. He's getting there again. He's got to watch his challenges, though. There was another one with Anua yesterday, which, I mean, I've seen some people putting online from the Southampton fans saying, "Oh, it should have been a red." Bullshit. His studs were down, but it was a late tackle. It's how he plays the game. But I think he's got to be just a little bit more aware of what's going on. 7 for me, Alex.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I think Billy's just opened his football cards that I took him, and he's got Joe Linton, who we're talking about.
Well, there you go. How weird's that?
I know, very weird, very spooky. He got Lewis Hall as well, which you'll love that.
Nice.
I kind of agree with everything you've said. I think the challenge is not a red. I think it's definitely a yellow, and I think he's lucky that it wasn't any higher, or he had no control over what he was doing there. It was pretty, which that by definition is quite bad when you're looking at cards. He's got to cut it out. I don't want him to lose his mean streak, but we're getting every single game. We're getting tackles where we're going, ooh, that was, it's the face. Everybody pulls the face
every game.
Oh, God, before we get a replay, all of us going, oh God, are we going to lose one here? And it's. I don't want to have to do that all the time. Bruno used to do it and has kind of cut that out. He's learned. Joe Linton's been doing it every game the last few games, and he's got to be careful because if we suddenly lose him on a 3-match ban, we've got Miley to come in, I guess, but we need Joe Linton in this run. It's a really important run coming up. So, shooting boots. I'm sick of him hitting it from 30 and sticking it in row Z. We're not asking you to score from it every time you hit it from 30 yards, but at least try and get it on target so somebody can maybe benefit from a rebound or a scuffle or a bit of chaos. And the tackles were better. I mean, his defensive stuff was much better. 4 clearances, 2 block shots, 4 interceptions, 5 tackles. 7 out of his 11 ground duels. Much better at breaking up the play and doing his destroyer stuff. I'll go with an 8. But Joe Linton, please do not get a red card in February.
Oh no!
Or against Fulham, because it's getting, you're doing it every game now, mate. And I'm terrified. I can feel it coming. I really can.
Yeah, absolutely. Sean Stevenson, it's shown up as a new member, but I think Sean's been with us for 2 years as a member. I'm not sure whether you've changed your payment details or something, Sean, but it's you're still a member, matey. But thank you very much for your ongoing support, buddy. Right, Jacob Murphy, Alex.
Ooh. What did you give Joe Linton?
7.
Ooh, okay. Jacob Murphy's a tough one because he's got 4 key passes. The assist was sublime. The left-footed shot was fantastic as well.
That was a brilliant save, by the way. Let's take nothing away from McCarthy. You got a fingertip to
that.
Yeah.
He's been practicing those, Jacob has. So I thought output-wise, brilliant for the passing and the shot and stuff. The stuff that we need him for was immense. But then I don't remember him being involved that much in a lot of other areas. So he's a tricky one to mark. I'm going to go with an 8. I'm going to go generous because I thought the stuff he did to help us win the game with the shots and assists and passes were brilliant. But then I did feel like he went missing quite a lot in other areas. So
I just think he's combining really well with Isak. He's got a real good understanding with Alexander Isak. I've gone 8.5 because I thought the assist was fantastic. The shot on goal was incredible. It was a really, really funny enough. My bloody stream, there must have been a problem at the ground because I got a message on my screen saying back with service will resume shortly. And then I came back and everyone was saying, oh, Murphy's just hit the post. And then obviously I saw a replay later on. Just what Jacob does, cutting in, 2-footed, not afraid to hit with his left or his right. And, credit to the guy. So 8.5 for me. Anthony Gordon. This is a strange one for me because I don't think Gordon was... he likes to cut in a lot, doesn't he? And he does cause a threat for that. He teams up well with Lewis Hall, but I just want to see a little bit more. I mean, is that? I don't know. Am I asking too much there? Saying I want a little bit more from him? I don't know. I just think.
I think yes. I think you are.
Really? Oh, I know you're a big fan of Gordon, but I do.
I think he sets such high standards for the games where he is on fire.
Yeah,
I think when he has, let's not forget, he had a reasonably good game and got an assist, and we're disappointed with him because we've seen him I mean, you've got the screen share up, right? Do you just want to show him his this is Gordon's recent run of goal scoring. So this is assist, goal, penalty, goal, assist, goal, assist. His whole page is full of goals and assists for the last couple of months. Yeah. So I think we've just got used to super high standards from him.
Yeah, but if he's, I mean, is that what we've come to expect from England international now? And
what do you mean he's just not scoring? He scored against Wolves. That was 2 games ago.
Yeah,
he scored against Arsenal in the Carabao Cup, and he scored against Spurs, and he scored against Villa. He's scoring loads of goals. What are we talking about?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go 7.5, Alex.
I'll agree. I'll agree.
Oh, okay.
I don't like the fact that I think he always needs to be told. We need to make adjustments. There are certain games where Anthony Gordon and Lewis Hall need to be told to readjust and do things differently because we're getting exposed. And I would like us maybe to be able to identify that before we concede from it or before we have loads of issues. Yeah. And I feel like there's been loads of times recently where we've had to sort of maybe collar Gordon a little bit and bring him back because Lewis Hall was kind of a little bit on his own. But yeah, he got another assist and he's fantastic. And people know how he plays now. Whenever he tries to cut inside, there's 2 or 3 people trying to block a shot. So it's because they know how potent he is with it. So
yeah. But by the way, I am nobody's suggesting here a question in his work rate because his work rate, if we were just marking on work rate alone, he would be a 10 every week because the guy puts a shift in every single week. He tries his heart out. So nobody's questioning his.
What's he on for the season?
I mean, I have no idea.
He's on 6 goals, 5 assists. He's on 11 goal contributions.
Yeah. I think
he's actually underperforming his XG and his expected assists. So he's 11 goal contributions and he's running cold. Yeah. So,
and remember, this is just rating this game. People forget that it's not the games that have gone in the past. We're reviewing the Southampton game, not the season. Anyway, Isak, Alex.
I'm going to go with 10.
Oh, whoa. Collix, what are you talking about, mate? Work rate, you'd say the same about Miggy then. No, because Gordon is a far, far superior footballer than Miggy. Come on, that's a pathetic comment. Come on. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
I mean, I know Miggy's not playing, but he's not playing because the manager doesn't believe he can do the output of like Jacob Murphy's 10 goal contributions. Gordon's got 11. The manager doesn't believe that Miggy can produce the same. That's why he's on the bench and possibly getting sold. So
I hope you are, matey. I hope you are. Twat.
Yeah, Isak's 10 because he scored 2 goals. That's easy peasy.
Yeah.
I think he was very unlucky not to have had a hat-trick.
Yeah.
Selfless in helping the build-up for the Sandro goal. won a few more duels than I was expecting him to. 4 out of 6 ground duels, 4 shots on target.
The
Yeah,
guy
he's
was
a monster.
The guy was a mess, especially first half. He was just untouchable.
I have I think I have a graphic for you. Actually, no, you do it, and I'll try and find it.
Okay, well, we're doing this? I've given him a 10 as well. You can't give him any less than a 10. He was sensational. Substitutes. Who came on first? Was it Willock and Miley? Was it?
It was 79 minutes. We had Willock and Miley come on for Isak and Bruno.
Okay. Willock and Miley, Alex. May as well rate them together.
Willock did some really cool stuff.
Yeah, Willock looked a bit better yesterday.
To try and it didn't. None of it came off, which was a big shame. But some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Skill wise to try and beat his man and try and work his way into the box, which I liked. It was okay. I'll go with the flat 7. Miley, I think, was a bit more reserved and was just playing safe.
Yeah.
Not safe passes. That almost sounds like a criticism. Safe passes because it was appropriate. I thought it was fine. Yeah, 7 for both.
Okay. I've got a 7 for Willock, 6 for Miley. I thought Miley was very quiet when he came on. He was obviously there just to see the game out. But that's I want to see more from Joe Willock, though, Alex, is actually trying these things, whether they come off or not. Just that's what he hasn't been doing in recent times, is actually even trying to make moves. So I was more impressed with him yesterday than I have been in a while. Now, Miggy came on very late, and so did Longstaff, Alex. I'm not sure they were on long enough to rate.
So Miggy, 88th minute.
Yeah.
To be fair, I actually thought Mickey did quite well when he came on. He's been given a 7.1. I think the reason he did quite well is because he was trying to engineer himself a goal as a good buy. And he did quite well, actually.
He nearly did.
Some good areas, yeah.
Yeah. He got down the right-footed shot
on target.
Then he had an even better chance later on his right and refused to take it and cut back on his left, which was infuriating.
I'm going to give Miggy a token 10 because he's going. So
yeah, and I was just going to say that.
It is a little bit frustrating, though, that when he wants to, he can come on and do that. If he could have come on and done that previously for us, we would be okay with him. But the fact it's annoying because he's clearly got it in his locker when he really, really wants to. And he came on and he was fairly dangerous. But yeah, we'll go with a 10. Thanks for everything, Miguel. He's been brilliant.
I've given him a 10 as well. And I know I've been one of his harshest critics, but it's never been personal. I would never do that with a footballer, going to a personal level. And listen, I do. If he does leave, I wish him all the best. And I'm really pleased he got that ovation from the fans at the end yesterday, because he has been with us for a long time. Whether we've been happy with his football or not is irrelevant. He's given years to the football club, and you have to take your hat off to that and say thank you. Thank you for your efforts and good luck for the rest of your career. So 10. By the way, Alex, I hope you realise that you give Miggy a token 10 against Wolves as well.
I thought he was going then. So
yeah,
so his mark a little bit.
His player rating is going to look very good at the end of the season. Finally,
I found my graphic, by the way.
Okay, let's have a look.
So this is about Isak. Somebody did post this on Reddit today. So I can't remember who it was, so I can't credit them, but it's fine. I found it myself on Transfermarkt. This is goals per goals per. What's the right way of wording this?
Goals per game?
Minutes per goal.
Oh,
minutes per goal is the right way of wording this. My brain switched off. And this is looking quite ridiculous for Alexander Isak. So he's now scored 48 goals in the Premier League. So fine, it is a little bit more of a smaller sample size, possibly inflating it a tad. But from 73 appearances, 48 goals, he's ranking as the 3rd of all time in the Premier League for goals per minute at the moment, behind only Erling Haaland and Sergio Aguero, which is pretty nuts. Obviously, to sustain that rate as you work your way up to 200 and 300 appearances, like Henry and Kane and your Van Nistelrooys and Salah, who is obviously still playing, he's got a long way to go. But the fact he's on track with these names, I think kind of
Just says how
breeds a little
is.
bit of it breathes life into the transfer fee that we're demanding.
Indeed.
Because he's ridiculous. He's so good.
Michael McIntyre, thank you for your super chat. He says, hi, goodbye to Miggy, Toon. Right, Eddie Howe, Alex.
I'm going to go with a 9. I'm going to go with a 9 because it was a great response from Bournemouth. We looked better. Yep. He adjusted after that we conceded a goal. I loved the timing of the substitutions. I thought once the game was done, 79 minutes, bring off Isak and Bruno, arguably 2 of our most important players. He brought Miggy on. Well, basically, so he brought off Isak, Bruno, Gordon, and Murphy. So players that we really need to keep fit and are highly important. Tanali and Joe Linton have got more of an engine, so stayed on. Yeah. We sorted it out after the Bournemouth catastrophe. We won the game. We're now 4 away wins in a row for the first time since 1996, and Eddie Howe's got to take a lot of credit for that.
Indeed. Same score for me. 9, and it was a very big week because we had to bounce back from that performance. The only thing about it is putting Share in, but we don't know. You know, Botman might have been one of the players that was under the weather or whatever. Listen. They're being very careful with Botman after throwing him in when Share was suspended. I can understand them doing that, but I think long term he's got to play Botman because he's levels above. He's levels above what we have. But there you go. Let's have a look at the viewers' man of the match before we finish the show. Alex, would you like to have a guess who the viewers' man of the match is?
I don't know because I think it should be Isak based on the fact that he scored 2 goals and nearly got a hat-trick. But I feel like people might go with their heart and maybe vote Tanali a bit higher.
It's Tanali.
Tricky one. Yeah,
but you're going to
soppy bunch. You
Tanali, 79% of the vote.
It is. He plays the game in such a beautiful way. I get it. I do get it completely.
79%. Isak with 15/16. Murphy with 3 and Dubravka 1. Over 850 votes tonight as well. So
1 was a penalty. He's still got to score the penalty. Give him a chance.
Yeah, but
he missed one in pre-season.
Yeah, but Stuart sums it up perfectly there, Alex. Tanali is an artist.
He is an artist.
He's a footballing artist.
Absolutely
he's absolutely fantastic. There you go. That is the show done and dusted for tonight. Thank you very, very much, everybody, for tuning in. I will be back at 11:30 in the morning. As usual now, we do a live show morning and evening. The live show in the morning is 11:30. So if you're available, join me for that. Please do. It is obviously going to be available the rest of the time on replay as well. But it's gone really well, the first couple that we've done. So we will keep it going. So the news show tomorrow at 11:30, and then keep your notifications on because obviously we'll have a show tomorrow night as well. But that might be a new show, transfer show. We'll sort that out behind the scenes. But enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, folks. Thank you, mods. And of course, thank you, Alex. Thank you to you guys out there for spending an hour with us on a Sunday evening. Enjoy the rest of it, and we'll see you all again tomorrow. Good night.
Away the lads and lasses.
Come back and check on some breathing. So much trouble, make my day.